Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to discuss why sodium is so important, especially for lifters, and just like clear up misconceptions about it, because it's a largely misunderstood mineral. So essentially sodium is an essential mineral. It's an essential nutrient is what we could call it, which basically means our body does not produce it endogenously inside of us. So in order for us to actually have adequate levels of sodium, it must be ingested through food, or literally like putting the mineral in our mouth and like ingesting it, which some people do. I've done that before. I don't really enjoy it, but it helps with action potentials, with basically nerve impulses. It literally holds your body together, like it helps bind your body to get together, and it just facilitates a ton of different chemical reactions. It also, in terms of, you know, its importance with athletes in particular, it helps with firing nerve signals, action potentials to your muscle fibers to actually contract. So when I am moving my mouth, when I am, bench pressing, when I'm really doing this, it's action potentials, it's that nerve impulses. Sodium is a charged ion of +1 charge, and it essentially helps, facilitate all these reactions. So if you do not have enough sodium, you're not going to be able to send as powerful of a signal to your muscle as you possibly could, because you're not going to have literally that ion in your muscles present to actually tell your muscles to contract. It just won't happen. And lots of times as people go along with in their workouts, it's due to a few things, but one of the reasons why people get fatigued is because of electrolyte depletion during their training sessions. So having some sodium pre-workout can help for that reason. You have more of that ion ready for your muscles to actually use. It can help you be stronger, work out for longer, all that good stuff. Additionally, it helps pull water into the muscles, and this is a good thing because the more water in your muscles, the more glycogen combined, and again, the more efficiently that your body will be able to send nerve signals, just because of how your nerves are literally made. It'll also help make you look fuller and press the muscle out against the skin, which will make you look more dry, more vascular, more grainy, all that good stuff. Additionally, it will also help prevent muscle cramps, because your body will actually be able to manage the firing of action potentials. Because what happens when you are cramping is essentially you have too much of a signal or too much damage in your muscle, and sodium kind of helps regulate that signal for contraction, because again, it's a nerve impulse, so you can be able to better manage that. And also just because of having more water present, like it can happen sometimes because you're just dehydrated, and it's your body's response. Another reason why is because there's a sodium transporter in your small intestine called the sodium dependent GLUT1 transporter. Essentially what that does is it will help pull water in. It'll help you store carbohydrates in the muscle. So basically, if you're having like a high carb diet, for example, if you're not having enough sodium, you can have a lot of that food in your GI tract. It'll be hard for your body to actually uptake and actually put it into the muscles, be stored, be used for substrate for energy, and it can make you look kind of soft and watery and really bloated. And so it's going to basically, because there's water will follow solute, it's osmolarity. You'll have more of that water in your GI tract, which will then pull water into the subcutaneous underneath the skin layer, and it'll make you kind of look puffy and bloated, and like you'll hold a lot of water in your abdomen. And if you don't have having enough sodium in your diet will help you not look as watery, help you look tighter, just because you'll be able to have enough sodium to help out with that transporter. Additionally, you'll have less aldosterone present in your body. Aldosterone is a stress hormone, but it helps with electrolyte balance. They actually did a study with when they depleted sodium, like it only took 2 days, I believe, for aldosterone to literally double. We're talking about a hormone that literally makes your body hold water. So, and then it got even worse and worse and worse with inadequate sodium intake over time. So, aldosterone will kind of make you look tired, it'll make your face look really bloated, puffy. You will look soft because you're not going to have enough sodium to actually pull the water into your muscles, and facilitate all these reactions I previously mentioned. So having enough sodium will help you look better. It'll help you look tighter, actually. Now, you will realize some water retention if you do have some, lower sodium intake, and then you do increase it to, recommended levels. But over time, that will kind of flatten out, and you'll kind of start peeing it out a little bit more. Additionally, people tend to be kind of sodium deficient in diets, just because they will literally pee it out because they're drinking more fluids, because they're hungry, as a ways to, send that signal via the vagus nerve to your brain that there's a stretch in your stomach and you're more full in an energy deficit. So that's something else to just be aware of. It also will have less fatigue because you will, like I said earlier, you'll be able to have more sodium available to actually help facilitate the chemical reactions, because sodium is a co-transporter. So anyways, how much sodium should you take? What form? What are my recommendations? So unless you are sodium sensitive, which about 20 to 30% of the population is, and those people need to monitor their health, their blood pressure. But typically athletes are not going to have this sort of response because, they're athletic, they're moving around, they're not they're not sedentary. Like a lot of comorbidities, like obesity, help with, they contribute to that, to lots of these issues with blood pressure and insulin resistance. So if you're active, you probably won't have any issues, but you should still monitor your health regardless. You should take your blood pressure and do all that stuff because you care about your health, right? But anyways, if you are active, if you are resistance training regularly, you're an athlete in particular, or whatever, you should consume about 4 grams of sodium for every half gallon. So for myself, I consume anywhere from 10 to 12 grams of sodium per day. So because I drink about 1.5 gallons of water. So basically what I recommend doing is salting all of your meals, especially because if you're not eating much processed foods, you will find that you will not have that much sodium present in your diet naturally, so you will have to salt it. Having sodium tablets can really help. I use thermotabs. You can just get them like Walmart or buy them off of Amazon. I have 2 of those pre and post workout. I'll typically have like an electrolyte mixture too via Gatorade in my during my actual workout to help replenish the loss of electrolytes, and then salting your meals throughout the day will help. I do believe that if you are serious about your performance, this is something that you should at least track like diligently until you get to like a pretty consistent level, because you want to be consistent within a range. So definitely track your mineral intake a little bit in your diet. Pay attention to it, just so that you can understand like around where you're at, and kind of know like what foods have more and what foods have less, similarly to like macros. But make sure that you have that. Additionally, with potassium, because you want to have enough potassium as well present, because that is also another important mineral. Make sure that you have about a 2-to-1 ratio of sodium to potassium. So for example, if you're having like 10 grams of sodium, you should have 5 grams of potassium in your diet ideally, because that's how the sodium potassium pump works. For every single 2 ions of potassium, you have one anion of potassium per pump. So it's just important for that, just so you can maintain a good extracellular matrix, can help control water fluctuations, so that you can have most of the water inside of these not spill over into the subcutaneous layer, but actually be inside of the tissues that you want them to be in. But yeah, you will realize some water retention if you're increasing it. Know that that's temporary. It usually takes about 3 days to resolve. Will filter out via the law of the kidney with glomerular filtration, other things that happen in it. During that period, if you're somebody who's mentally or emotionally, affected by the scale weight, even though you're consciously increasing a mineral that helps you like hold water, it's just water weight, it's not fat. Don't weigh yourself for about 3 days, and then you can kind of start tracking, and things will stabilize. But honestly, like the performance benefits of it, you'll be able to work out harder for longer. You'll be able to be stronger. You won't get as many cramps because your actual potentials, your electrical impulses will actually be managed properly. Because of the, all these other, all these ion channels in the body. You have better regulation of it, muscle contraction. You will look tighter because you'll have more actual fluid inside of the subcutaneous, inside of the muscle where you want, and not in the subcutaneous, because you'll be lowering aldosterone and cortisol as well as a result of aldosterone being lowered. But yeah, so basically have, for every half gallon of water, you should have 4 grams of sodium, and scale up as needed. And that will and then now, the awesome thing about that is that because water intake scales with activity, the more active you are, the more water you'll drink, and therefore the more sodium that you'll probably have to intake. So those are my recommendations. It's a great performance enhancing mineral. It's something that you should definitely incorporate into your diet if you have not already, and be cognizant of, and definitely go out of your way to make sure that you are at least having enough. So hopefully this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. If you guys are interested in coaching and programming, adampeelerfitness.com, and follow me on Instagram at adamdpeeler, and talk to you guys